the title of love should not be your entire prerequisite for marriage. Your entire prerequisite for marriage should be compatibility. Are you compatible with this person? So even if you love this person, you might at the end of the day hate this person because you are not compatible. I love you, yes, but you are not doing things that are compatible with my way of life. There are things I do and things I want that you cannot fit into at that point in time.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is the Naija we need, and today we are going to be talking about marriage and how our culture and our religion affects marriage. So in order to help us in our discussion today, we have Mr. Felix with us today. Good afternoon, Mr. Felix.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Felix, before we delve into our topic for today, can you just tell us like a little bit about yourself? Can we just like get to know you better?
Well, Felix Faleye. Born indigenous of Ekiti State. I was born in Plateau State, just Plateau State, and I'm from Ekiti State, paternally in Naija local government. Yes.
So Mr. Felix, let's go into our topic for today. Can you just educate us a little bit on your ideas or your beliefs on what marriage is or what marriage should be like?
Well, marriage is a very beautiful thing. I believe strongly in the sanctity of marriage. A lot of times we delve into it because a lot of people delve into marriage because they just feel it's the in thing everybody's doing. But personally, because of its sanctity, knowing that it is one of the very, according to religion, the Christian religion, as so to say, documentedly we find out that it is one of the very first things God Almighty put his hand into, providing Adam with Eve. So we see that marriage and its sanctity doesn't just have to do with we alone as humans, but then has to do extensively with God as a trio. So for me, that is my belief for marriage.
Okay, thank you very much for mentioning religion. For going from the religious aspect that you came from, do you think that our religion and our culture affects our views or how we view marriage as? Do you think religion affects our views on marriage?
Sure. The way our life is meted out, whatever a person is today, it is only a sheer function of what his environment has couched him to become. We are first who we are because of basically how you were brought up by your parents, and whether you like it or not, we are a living line from our parents. So when we talk about marriages and we talk about religion, we talk about culture, whatever culture we are born in has a very, very serious part to play in how our lives turn out to be in marriage. For instance, I'm a Yoruba man. There are a lot of things we revere in marriage. The fact that when a woman marries, you don't marry that person alone. You marry his family, right? So by marrying his family, you know that, okay, there are things you have to do. That's why in most cases, when people talk about intermarriages between cultures, it is a very, very serious thing. People have to be very, very careful. You have to be very intentional, because I know for a fact that if you are not intentional enough, you would find out that when you go to this culture, there are a lot of things that they do there that it is not necessarily wrong. It is not terrible, but it is just not what you are used to. It's not where you are coming from. So you now have to take so much for you to blend into that culture, especially for the female gender. You find out that women would have to leave where they are coming from and join to this culture. So by the time you are joining to this culture, there are a lot of things you have to do. For the Yoruba, for instance, when I get married, my wife is not expected to call my siblings by their names. You have to use auntie this, uncle this, irrespective of how much older she is than they are. You have to. That is our culture. But if someone from the East, for instance, does not see a reason why she should do that, because this person is not her mate. She can probably give birth to this person. But that is how it is in my culture. So you have to be intentional. Now, by religion, we see a lot of people by their religions, they have rights to marry as much wives as they want for men. So if you as a Christian lady wants to marry a Muslim guy, for instance, you have to put those things into consideration. The fact that you know that, okay, there is a likelihood that this man will become an alhaji. So there's a likelihood he might be pushed by his religion to marry more than one wife. And at the end of the day, you have nothing to fight him about, because nobody will be on your side, knowing the full fact that this person is, by his culture, permitted to do things like this. But if you had ground rules, ground agreements before you get married, please, I cannot manage with another woman in this marriage, then that is something. So traditionally also, I see that even the traditions that we have, the traditional religion, right, has its own foundation in culture. That's why you see a lot of these traditions have a lot of things against adultery for the women, however biased it might look. Every religion has a thing against adultery for women. So there are different charms, so to say, that they do that would hinder women from being promiscuous. But it doesn't have to do with men. So it basically tells you that the marriage is supposed to be sanctified, like it is something for them exactly. So it's just a two-way thing. Both parties have to agree to know that this is what we want to do. This is how our journey is going to be. This is me knowing that I am subtle and would have to be submissive entirely to this man for the woman.
All right, thank you very much. Now our next question. Are there some things that you believe that a person is meant to consider or take into consideration before entering into a marriage? Like, what are the prerequisites that someone should have fulfilled before getting married?
First of all, most importantly, is maturity. Maturity is not by the age, of course. There are people who are quite younger, but because of what they've experienced in life, they are much older. So you don't, I about to say something right now. The title of love should not be your entire prerequisite for marriage. Your entire prerequisite for marriage should be compatibility. Are you compatible with this person? So even if you love this person, you might at the end of the day hate this person because you are not compatible. I love you, yes, but you are not doing things that are compatible with my way of life. There are things I do and things I want that you cannot fit into at that point in time. So look at this person. Yes, he's a good person, but does he have this other thing you can live with? If it's not something, if this person doesn't have something in life that you can live with, you shouldn't. So apart from the age, you look at the person's lifestyle. How can this person be? Look at the other party, how much sacrifice the person is ready to make. The person has to be able to sacrifice what you want. Look at religion. Is this person a religious person? There are women who will not even be with you once you tell them you want to go into ministry. And there are some women who actually feel cheated today, that after they got married to their husbands, the husband had decided to become a pastor. They'll feel very, very cheated because that is not what they wanted. And here women tell you, God called him, he didn't call me. So you see, those are things that happen. So until you are matured enough, until you find a common ground of compatibility, there should not be marriage. Love is just a part of it.
All right. So just so I will not misunderstand you, are you saying that love is not important in getting married?
Oh, it is. It is. If you cannot live with someone, then there's no point. And you have to love this person to be able to live with this person. But then your compatibility should also be there. The fact that I love a particular type of food doesn't mean when the doctor says it is harmful for my health, I should still continue eating it. I do love it, right? But it is not good for me. That's why I see some people in toxic relationship and claim, oh, the sex is good, I'm enjoying the sex, but this nigga is beating you up. So you look at the compatibility. Unless you now decide to be compatible with being beaten up, fine and good for you. But looking at it, love is quite important. It's important. And other things, you can actually fall in love with whoever it is you marry. In the older days, our parents had situations where they just arrange marriage for them. You just come back and they tell you, yes, this is your wife, or this is your husband, and you cry as the woman. You cry and cry. The man takes you to his house. You have nothing to do. You can't fight him. But then in that marriage, you get to love him. All you have to do, and I believe for a fact that once you open your heart to someone, you would fall in love with the person. Once you allow yourself be open to this person, you fall in love with the person. That's the same thing that happens with accepting people in an environment, in a community. That's why some people are racist, just because they refuse to accept. If you accept the person, you will not have selective decisions. When the person does this thing and this other person does the same thing, you would favor this person because you love the person. But then, even whether or not you are of my tribe, I should be able to love and accept what you do. That is the only way I would grow with you.
All right. Thank you very much for that explanation. And thank you for sharing your views on marriage with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone. So you have heard Mr. Felix's views on marriage. And to be very honest with you, I think his views on marriage are fairly good. Maybe some of you might have other different views on that, but you can tell us your views maybe later on or some other day. But for the time being, thank you very much for tuning in to Naija We Need.